today. How about this, everybody? Look at our couple. Now we got to talk about the first date, okay? And we've got a first date guide. Please welcome dating coach for men, Minnie Lane. She came in from London just for us, okay? And I don't know if you met everybody. That's Dalton and Brittany.
Hi. Nice
And that's Jaleel and Kelly.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay, so Minnie, we want you to give these four people, these wonderful people that just met, a run through some of your tips about the first date. So let's go through your tips. Number one, don't treat your first date like an interview. Well, that was always my mistake. But we tend to do that, don't we?
Yeah, this is probably the most common mistake that I see people make in conversation is asking lots and lots of questions, jumping from topic to topic, searching for common ground so that you feel comfortable talking about something. So instead of that, I really encourage you to, just listen, be curious, get to know her a little bit.
So you're a dating coach for men. So do men tend to interview more than women do?
Well, I only work with men, but I think men tend to feel that the onus is on them to sort of keep the conversation going. And it really isn't, instead of jumping from topic to topic, try to build common ground, build connection on something you don't have in common. So let her talk about herself. Just be interested in.
What happens if one of these guys talk about themselves too much? How do you change the subject? What do you do?
I say at the beginning of a date, you should be encouraging the other person to talk as much about themselves as you can. The more you invest in somebody else, the more of a bond you feel with somebody.
Right.
So always be, adding little bits about yourself, but then bringing it back to them. And then after a little bit of the date, try and make it 50-50 so that the conversation's sort of flowing between the two of you a little bit more.
Okay.
And the best thing, too, is just to listen, because there might be something that you're so curious about. You're going to go, okay, she's finishing that, but I want to ask her about that thing she just asked. Don't compare, like tip number 2, don't ever do this. Don't compare to your ex or ideal partner.
No.
Don't be doing that dialogue in your head, right? So comment on that.
So, try not to come in with too many expectations. Really go in just to find out who she is. Again, it comes into, being curious. And even if you don't immediately fancy somebody, it's always good to just make the most of that time you've got together. Commit to giving them your full attention and just having the best time you possibly can. You never know what might change throughout the night as you get to know someone a little bit more.
Right. How do you relate to that? Brittany, what do you think about all this?
It's so true. Asking questions and listening, it's really important.
Yeah. You can. I just saw your eyes kind of light up and go.
I was like, yeah, that's so true.
That's so true.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people talk about themselves a lot. So it's like, listen and vibe with the person, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Dalton, any thoughts on that? Anything?
I completely agree. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's very important to have, just a general conversation, because if you can't talk, then...
Yeah, and you don't have to put it on either, do you? Just be yourself.
Oh, always be yourself.
Kelly, what do you have to say about all this?
Well, when I'm on a date with someone, I get greedy with them. I want to know about them. But if they talk about their exes, then of course I'll listen. But I'm not going to even think about that. I'm focused on their presence,
Yeah, Jaleel?
Yeah, like she was saying, I think it's important to keep it 50-50 because if one person is talking all the time, then you get kind of bored and you're thinking, oh, this person doesn't really care about me. I've been on dates where girls just chat, and I'm like, this girl doesn't care about me. She doesn't, she don't want to get to know me. She's not even asking.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So past experiences tell you what you don't like, and that you're not being really, you're not a great listener to somebody. Tip number 3: don't leave each other guessing. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think communication is key, always. So I think it's always nice, on the day of the date, to just message beforehand saying, I'm really looking forward to meeting you, see you at 7, or something like that. It's a good way of, confirming the date without having to say, oh, are we still on later? And it also sort of sets a nice sort of welcoming, open atmosphere, which just gets the date off to a good start.
That's okay, right? You all like that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sometimes you don't know if the date's still on or not, and you show up, just in case, confirm it.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. Did you ever have a date and they didn't show up? That would be awful.
No, never. Thank God. I hope it doesn't. I would never
but you know what? When you're waiting on, you're going through your text going, gee, are we really supposed to meet? I'm not sure. They haven't reconfirmed the confirmation of the confirmation. Do you ever feel like that sometimes?
Well, your mom said you need to do communication.
Oh, yeah. I'm working on it. I promise everything will be great,
At least it never happened to you. But, if you don't text to confirm that we're meeting tonight, I'm going to be like, oh, okay. It's not happening.
Yeah, that's
right.
I will.
I do like the confirmation.
About it.
Okay.
Okay, he's gonna be wearing it now. I love that. They're pretty good. I like that. Okay, that last tip. It's tip number 4 for the guys. You say, take the lead. In what respect do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, it's not that I think a guy should always have to take the lead on everything, but I think a first date is a good chance to show somebody that you're capable of taking the lead, that you're capable of stepping into something. But, you know, along those lines, also be considerate and don't be controlling. So I think it's nice, you know, to ask where someone's coming from before you set the location, for example. You know, you want it to be someone that's easy for her to get to. You know, things like that that are just sort of taking the other person into consideration. And I think beyond the first location, try not to have too fixed an idea of how the night's going to pan out. You know, have ideas.
Story, right? Don't write the story about how it's going to be. Just let it flow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, leave some space for things to sort of move organically. You know, have ideas in mind and suggestions, but always allow the other person to have their input too. So.
Right. And open and honest is the last tip that you really want to talk about.
Yes.
Okay.
So honesty is absolutely crucial. You know, never pretend to be somebody that you're not to impress somebody else, ever. I mean, just in the whole of life, actually, not just in dating. You know, show her who you really are, because being comfortable in your own skin is like the most attractive quality that you can have.
I'm assuming you're on social media.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that all your photos are real.
Yeah, all of them are real.
I don't mind a little filter. I think that's okay,
I use
right?
filter every now and then, but no Photoshop or anything, no altering.
Right.
No, it's all me.
Okay, that's all.
All
What
real.
about you, Cal?
Seems like she's good.
I'm pretty au natural too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dalton?
Same thing.
Same thing. It's like, that's the way it is. I like that about you a lot. Brittany?
Of course, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. All right. So Dalton, Brittany, Jaleel, and Kelly, your first dates are on us.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wow, yeah?
Yeah. Right, Minnie? I'm not going to make them. No, and Minnie might come. Actually, Charmaine might be joining you. I don't know, your mother. But actually, we only got dinner for 2. And listen, we've got dinner at Montecito Restaurant. May I recommend the kale salad, although it has garlic in it, and the chicken. The chicken is the best. I love that restaurant. Complete with a VIP Cineplex movie experience, all right? You guys have been awesome. Have fun. She's around the corner, okay? All right, more with Minnie. And we also have Jess over there right after the break. We'll be right back.